Well, Daredevil Born Again season 1 is over, and I don't know why I'm making this video because no one will watch it, just like no one watched the show. And you know what? I don't blame them either. It is my responsibility to make my videos and reviews better and more engaging, just like it is the show's creators' responsibility to make competent entertainment people want to watch, which evidently they did not do. Daredevil Born Again is an absolute mess of a show with shallow as a puddle characters.
I can't swim! I'm drowning! Oh God, I'm drowning!
It's a lackluster story that's not very well told or executed. But hey, the cinematography is pretty good. So yeah, there's that. It is a show that has some half decent ideas that were rushed through in this weird 2 episode per arc like structure to try and get, I guess, all the ideas writers just spitballed onto a whiteboard into one season. It feels like someone described to the writers what a Daredevil show is supposed to be, but they were only like half paying attention. I would know because I haven't seen the original Daredevil, and all this stuff that's kind of been crammed into this show has been what's been described to me as what is supposed to be in a Daredevil show. But the writing is just not there to make that show what it could have been. What buildups they had usually had like shit payoffs, like Muse being a random crazy sim kid that was just kind of good at Taekwondo. He wasn't any sort of really good match for Daredevil and was not a very good, like, full season villain that was somewhat advertised he would be. He was barely in the show, and as someone who did Taekwondo for a significant amount of time, no, he was not good at it. But hey, I guess I should have stuck with it because apparently the further along you get, the more you can just like tank headshots no problem and not die from concussions or brain damage. But back to Daredevil. It is known that a good amount of the Daredevil Born Again crew were fired and changed over during the times of the last writer's strike. What is not completely confirmed is what episodes were scrapped and reshot with this new crew. It is rumored that it was episodes 1, 8, and 9. So are those episodes the best? Do they fix everything and have a night and day difference in quality? Well, no, not really. It was obvious that those episodes tried to add more things the audience would potentially like, but still, it was wrapped up in a shit story that makes no sense. Hey, spoilers. Like, the original show probably never showed Foggy dying. It probably just started with him dead and there may have been a funeral. So the new crew came along and, actually showed Foggy and Karen. Not really having him do a scene with Matt was a mistake, but at least they showed them and then, had a one-shot fight with Bullseye because the show needs the token one shot, and also that was a way to kind of put Bullseye in jail and put him away so they can bring him back at the end. Then, with the last 2 episodes, they try to have shit hit the fans and to, accelerate some of the narrative to give the audience Kingpin and the Punisher. They try to correct Cuckpin and go, oh, look, Vanessa actually screwed up. She isn't the greatest person to ever run business ever. The Kingpin had a plan all along, and he is evil and brutal and scheming again. Please come back. Oops, look at all these season 2 photos that have been leaked. Oh no, but don't they look kind of cool? Please come back. But it doesn't work because of, the rest of the season. Even if the final episodes were 10 out of 10, it wouldn't work because the majority of the season is shit. These last 2 episodes just try to explain stuff, but it doesn't go over well. Like how Matt never thought to look into the case Foggy was working on before he died. So, to figure out if that had anything to do with his death. And then they just have the ADR line saying, well, we were going through a lot. And that is just not an answer for the character of Matt Murdock. Okay, I don't want to harp on the last episode since this is a season review, but watching them did highlight another problem that was throughout the show: the character development. Characters just switched personalities out of nowhere to where they were allegedly being set up for throughout the season. But it was not earned at all since we truly did not get to know the characters. Like the TikTok guy who was a Kingpin stan, but positive and happy. He just suddenly becomes like evil right hand man and media manipulator. He needed a lot more work before that change of personality at the end with all his evil smirks and liking of the power. The thing is, all that could have worked, but they did nothing to have the audience bond with that guy or to see a gradual change, to even make the audience go, oh no, sweet summer child is getting corrupted. And it's just the same with the other side characters. They were almost completely useless and just do occasional info dumps to move the plot forward. Cherry would just show up and be like, I don't approve of Daredevil. Here's some plot relevant info. Okay, bye. It was just that throughout the season, except for like the white tiger taking him to court thing. And there's nothing really to say about the lady lawyer. You get the idea, she was useless too. If Disney really wanted to wipe the slate clean of supporting cast to put in their like check mark approved people, they needed to at least make them actual characters you can like. You have to work hard to earn that Foggy death and to unpiss off the people that would get mad at his immediate killing. But no, they just tossed 3 years aside for just shit, nothing, empty calorie nonsense. So much time was wasted in the 9 episodes. It could have been so much better as a longer season, but also, you could have just done so much better with 9 episodes. But to do that, every single minute of footage would have to count and be meticulously planned, scripted, executed, and edited. But Disney has lost the ability to make anything good, so that's like a toddler trying to climb Everest. They just do whatever is easiest to get to the next plot point. Like they need Matt to be lectured at about doing more than just lawyer stuff to help innocent people because system corrupt. So the writers went, well, we have the white tiger niece girl, and she can do that because she's gonna get kidnapped later, which would make him suit up, and so that would just, be perfect. Problem is, when they do that, they write her dialogue like she knows Matt is Daredevil. Without that context, she is just an upset girl shouting at a blind man. What did she expect him to do? Write a cease and assist letter to Muse and the corrupt cops? She's already super smart or whatever, according to the show, so she probably knows that a lawyer isn't a hero. There absolutely could have been a scene of her being in distress and coming to Matt because he's the only one she knows that has ever helped, but just to have her there to lecture him that he's a piece of shit for not wanting to help find a killer as a blind man is just dumb. We're not going to talk about the stupid 30-page rap sheet criminal just wanting to steal caramel corn because it's good and apparently has fundamentally changes Matt's point of view about the effectiveness of the criminal justice system, and just go back to girl shouting at blind man. Just speaking of blindness, they just kind of turn off Daredevil's powers whenever they want to just turn him into an actual blind man. There's no consistency. They have him hear everything when they want him to and be oblivious to conversations happening right next to him when they don't. It is just ridiculous, the type of shit. It's whatever, just this is fine writing that they are doing. But are there any positives? Well, Charlie Cox is great. The cinematography, pretty decent. Vincent D'Onofrio is trying really hard with a shit script. But man, they really did not want to have Kingpin. But hey, there are other fights that are occasionally okay, but not good enough and far in between, so they don't really perk you up from all the boring sludge you had to sit through to get to them. Thanks to my not having watched the original Daredevil seasons, this show did not piss me off as much as other people for destroying character. It did, however, mostly bore me and make me not too interested to watch season 2. And I am clearly not the only one. If you want a full breakdown of story and all the crap that happens, then go watch EFAP or something. I'm too small of a channel, and this show is too dead to people for me to do an in-depth review. I know I say that in pretty much all of my videos so far, but one of these days I will find that one show, that one that makes me want to do an hour or two long video that either really praises or shits on it, and I'm just still looking. But hey, there is a lot about to come out, so maybe I'll find it. But in the meantime, I have been enjoying the new Guy Ritchie British gangster show, Mobland, on Paramount Plus. It has been pretty good so far. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, all really good, and I really want to see where the story goes. So go check it out, and hey, maybe I'll do a video on that. Bye.
And this goes on and back and forth for 90 or so minutes until the movie just sort of ends.